Well, good morning. It's Saturday again, and I'm going to change the transmission fluid on this 2011 Nissan Frontier. When I buy something new or a used car like this, I like to change all the fluids. So I'm going to work through that today and at least do the transmission fluid and the transfer case. And I'm hoping to work on the front differential and rear differential too. I got everything for it. So let's jump underneath this, and I'm going to do a drain and refill on all of these is all I'm doing. Okay, it's a little tight under here, but we'll do the best we can. The drain plug's up under here, right up there, 19 millimeter. I looked at the fluid on the dipstick and looked pretty good, so I don't know what it's gonna look like. I'm gonna slip on a glove real quick because this stuff on my it absorbs into my skin and I don't like it. So let me grab a glove. Looks brown, not red, so I'm glad I'm doing it. From what I read online, 3.5, 4 quarts. So we'll see. We're gonna let that drain and see what comes out of it. All right, before we know how much to put in, we gotta see how much we took out. The last time I did this, it didn't turn out so good. I dumped it everywhere. But this time, I'm hopefully gonna keep it all contained. Any guesses? I'm gonna guess 3.2 quarts. Maybe more than I thought. Let's see. About 3.6. 3.6 is what I see. Tell me if you see the same thing. Wow, that didn't feel like that much. 3.6 quarts. So that's what we're gonna put in, then we'll run through its paces and see what the dipstick looks like. Okay, I looked it up online, and I'm choosing to use the Valvoline Full Synthetic Max Life. Apparently it's just as good, if not better, than the Nissan brand. So this is what I'm gonna put in. Both the transmission and the transfer case calls for this same stuff. So this is a gallon. So I'm gonna leave not quite a half quart in. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. Then we'll put the dipstick back in and start it up, run it through its paces. I'll let it warm up and we'll run through. It's kind of dark in here. We'll let it warm up and then we'll run through the gears. I'm gonna let it warm up and then I'll do that again. Okay, I'm not seeing anything on the dipstick, so I'm gonna add whatever's left in that bottle, half a quart, then check it again and go from there and see if there's any on the dipstick. All right, I've checked it a few times, and with 5 quarts, it's right in the hash. It's just a hair low. I'd like to add just a hair more and then call her good. Now I don't have enough to do the transfer case because obviously this was low. That's done. Now we're doing this rear differential.
14 millimeter. I had to go buy this little 14 millimeter deal. Holy cow, that's tight. Looks like there's some silicone around it, so I'm sure that's what it came like in the factory. Nope. I better get a breaker bar. I just got a little extension. We'll see if that does it. Yep, that did it. Alrighty, now let's do the drain plug. This guy's a 10 millimeter. This is why I'm wearing the glove, 90 weight. Oh, I don't like it. It's the worst on your skin. I kind of like the smell at first, but then I don't. And that's why I'm changing it. It's pretty brown. There's a ton of stuff on the magnet too. And I should have put a glove on my other hand too. Okay, that's done dripping, so let's put her back in. I'm throwing some 80-90 weight in. Calls for 75-90. But this is what I have on my shelf in my garage. Because I bought it for the S10, I think, when I was doing its rear end. So we're going to throw this in. I think this takes 2 quarts. It's not full, I'm just spilling it. Let me go fill this up with my other one. Okay, I think we might be full. Little brake cleaner. Okay, that rear end is done. Let's move on to the next item. Alrighty, the transfer case is next. 10 millimeter, supposedly. This is the fill. Should have better put a bigger lift on this thing. I can barely fit underneath it. I'm doing this while the truck's level, by the way. So that's made a little bit of difference. And I just lost the light. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Oh boy, that's black. That should not be black. Yeah, I don't believe that thing's ever been changed. Nothing on the bottom magnet, so no metal shavings, that's good. I'm gonna put a little bit in and flush some of that old stuff out. Whoa. That will ensure I get all of it out. About right there. Okay, we'll just fill this up. It's supposed to take 2 quarts. And I've probably got less than a half in this one left. Nissan has really made these quite easy to work on. I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing so far. A lot easier to work on than that stinking S10. Of course, there is 7 years difference between them. 8 years difference. This is an 11 and the S10 is at 03. So after the transfer case, the only fluid I need to change is the front differential. And then we have successfully changed all the fluids in this truck. The radiator was done previously. They put a new radiator in it. But I should be checking the fluid too. I'll check that too. I'm gonna go get the other one. By the way, I'm putting the same thing I put in the transmission. This Valvoline full synthetic max life multi-vehicle. Supposed to be just as good or even better than the Nissan factory stuff. That's what I read anyway. I don't know. I think that took a little bit more than 2. Maybe I put a little bit more in and it's coming out. We'll let it self-level. That one is done. We'll move on to the front differential next. Okay, I'm going to try to capture the changing of this differential fluid the best I can. But it's kind of tight under here. That fluid doesn't look bad at all. But there's a bunch of junk on the magnet. Alrighty, in order to fill it, I'm just going to try the same thing I did on the rear differential. I know this is super boring. Super boring. Okay, we're going to try to get it up in here. Should work just fine. I tipped over the phone, but we're full. I'm just letting it self-level, and I'll tighten this back up. So we've successfully changed everything. This one's about done. I got a fan shroud I need to fix on this thing, and then there's a seat belt code, and then I got an alignment appointment next week, and then what else? Maybe we move on to cleaning this thing up, both the inside and outside. Okay, we're done with that. I'm gonna clean this mess up. Looks like we got a transmission pan slight oozing out of the gasket. Wow, that brake cleaner's strong. Woo. Make you pass out.
Well, I've driven this thing about 200 miles and I've developed a leak. Here's what I see on the garage floor. I see a bunch of leaks here, and I don't know if that's from this vehicle or my wife's, but something's leaking. This is definitely the Nissan. I'll have to crawl underneath and see what it is. Well, good evening. It's another cold night in the garage. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. I haven't been out here much, but for about a month or 2, ever since I changed that catalytic, or ever since I changed that oxygen sensor, I've had another code that I've been troubleshooting. Got the hiccups. Troubleshooting, and it's a mass airflow sensor. So tonight, I've been in here changing some things. Let me show you. Okay, I've been reading a lot, and it appears to me that someone has changed these little tubes, because if they have cracks in them, you can get a mass airflow sensor.
air. This mass airflow sensor right there is AutoZone part number. So someone's changed that. And then tonight I changed the PCV valve. My light's going out, which is back in there. Let me see if I can grab this light. Back in there, there's a PCV valve. So I just changed it. So, those are the leading causes. A vacuum leak, which those hoses should take care of. Sticky PCV valve. That's new. That could still be suspect. That mass airflow sensor from AutoZone. And then there's one other thing that's reported. There's a TSB, technical service bulletin, about if the ECU is a certain part number, then you can go have this reprogrammed to take care of that issue. So I might have to do that, but I might end up changing that mass oxygen sensor to a Hitachi model, which they say work better in these things, but they're not cheap. So anyway, that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm gonna do some idle air relearn process and go through that nonsense and see if I can fix this. But that is what's stopping me from emission testing this vehicle. I gotta figure it out. I also got to get rid of these hiccups. Oh, by the way, while I'm under here, I found the leak that is in the front of this engine. It appears to me, well, I can't see very well, but it's come from this power steering little bottle hose, power steering hose from the bottle. So I'll have to address that at some point too, but that's down the list. Well, good morning. It's another Saturday, and it's February, and it's 38 degrees out here. A few days ago it's 14, now it's 38. I don't know what's going on, but I'm trying to wake from my slumber. Got a few things in my hand. I put in a toilet in the house last week, so I've been busy. I'm coming outside because I'm gonna look at that little Nissan again. I've had this Nissan since August and it's February, and I still haven't got emissions tested on it. Still working on that. I'll show you. All right, I don't know if I showed you, but I had the windows tinted. There's the old S10. Still alive. That's just bird poop, not rust. Right there. Okay, here's what I'm still dealing with. I have the check engine light. It is the mass airflow sensor. I've replaced the mass airflow sensor, the tubes that go into the intake, the PCV valve. I've checked everything under the sun, read every forum, watched every YouTube video. I know there's a TSB, technical service bulletin, out there that may be the final fix, but I just put a Hitachi mass airflow sensor in, and now I gotta reset the code and go through drive cycles. I don't want to do that. It takes like 5 or 6 drive cycles to check. But anyway, I'm gonna clear the code, and then I'll have to drive some drive cycles and see if that fixed it. If not, I'm going to the dealership and seeing if they can reprogram it. So that's what I'm working on this stinking Nissan. Also put a strip right there too. It was just too bright in here. So I'm gonna clear the code. I'll take a picture of it. Alrighty, I cleared the code, and now I have to put some drive cycles on it and see what it does. Hopefully it won't come back. I'll probably try to do a couple drive cycles today, but yeah, that flashing airbag is the seatbelt tensioner on the passenger side. I gotta fix that too. But that's what we're doing today a little bit on the Nissan.
Well, believe it or not, that's a Christmas miracle. She passed emissions. I literally just reset it today. Went for a couple drives, tested it with my little Bluetooth driver, and she passed. So, I'm good to go. We'll license this and insure it, and then fix the other 3 or 4 things I know about. Good news. This might just wrap up this video. Thanks for watching. Yeah, we're sick of this Nissan.